Very classy. Suikoden. This is the remaster on the Nintendo Switch. A game that I obtained from the Maryland Library System. Again, if you're watching this channel, one thing you probably know about me, if you've seen most of my content, is that I play a lot of RPGs. Specifically Japanese RPGs, a lot of which I grew up playing. Your Final Fantasies, your Dragon Quests, your Resonance of Fates, your Star Oceans. I've never played a Suikoden game. So this is all new for me. Apparently this franchise started in the mid-90s on the PlayStation 1 at a time when Konami was trying to kind of... Apparently they've been doing a few Japanese RPGs occasionally on the Famicom, but I don't remember them actually leaning completely into RPGs until the PlayStation came out. So we started seeing games like your Vandal Hearts, which I did play when it launched. And there's another RPG that I'm forgetting that Konami got its hands dirty with. I don't remember this. I mean, specifically, I don't remember playing. I never played it. I knew it existed. I knew it was a turn-based game that apparently had a lot of characters you could recruit. And that was apparently the appeal of it. Especially with the sequel, Suikoden 2. Apparently you can have like hundreds of characters in your party. And as you might expect from a PlayStation 1 era Japanese RPG, it's really stupid expensive. If you want to buy a copy of this game on original hardware, better fork over $100 some. Maybe it might have dipped below 100 recently. I don't know. This is summer of 2025. Most PlayStation RPGs are in the $70-$80 range these days. I would say most of the Japanese RPGs people talk about are in that era. I mean, there are a couple of other games like your Arternelicos and, your PlayStation 2 RPGs are probably still somewhat affordable, I guess. By affordable, I mean less than $30. But as a person who grew up, whose entire personality is Valkyrie profile, I know what it's like to buy a game for $20-some and then know that it's worth $100. Okay, sorry, I need to go back the way I came. But yeah, I know nothing about this game, really, other than Konami who produced it. I don't know the musician behind it, apparently. I don't know what other games this musician worked on. I don't know if she worked on a bunch of the Suikoden games, or if she was just kind of hanging around and they got her because she was... like a lot of video game musicians of the era. They were trained at school, but ultimately they were looking for work after they graduated, and they wound up working on video games. But yeah, I don't remember her name, so I apologize. Despite being a hardcore Japanese RPG fan and a fan of video game music, there are a lot of musicians who escaped my notice, and she's one of them. Obviously, I know the Michiru Yamanes of the world, the people who worked on Castlevania games. But I don't know the later Castlevania games, by the way. But I don't know this young lady. She was young. She was young at the time the game came out. She's probably she's older than I am right now. So yeah, we'll call Onecha, not One Senpai. I don't know what we call her. I'm not up on the honorifics. Wendy. Is that like Wendy, like from Full Metal Alchemist? Joustin. I'm curious if they cleaned up the original text, the original localization from this game. Because again, mid-1990s, Japanese localizations were pretty bare bones, I've been told. I mean, they were better than they were in the NES era, but we're not talking like... If you read the original text for Xenogears in the North American translation, if you read some of that text, some of it's kind of dodgy. It's not terrible, but it's pretty bare bones. If you grew up playing games like Final Fantasy IV and Final Fantasy VI on the Super Nintendo, like I did, you got a Ted Woolsey localization. Like I wasn't paying attention to the dialogue choice there. But yeah, I played Breath of the Wild 1 on this channel about a year ago. I played Breath of Fire 2 when it launched. But I remember that the dialogue is extremely bare bones. Because remember, in those days, space for text was limited. Obviously, on a cartridge, you're dealing with was it hiragana, I want to say at the time, or katakana? I believe it's hiragana. But the point is that the text took up less space on the cartridge than English letters would, because you're putting syllables, you're putting pictograms and syllables into a cartridge instead of just letters. So you can convey the same sentences with fewer characters in a Japanese text. But when the time comes to convert that text box to English, then you gotta start really you have to start getting into the art of compressing sentences so that they're more concise. And obviously that led to a lot of problems. You get into this guy R6 situations where you have the space to convert the text in Final Fantasy VII onto the PlayStation disc, but you're just being forced to do too much localization too quickly. You can't do quality control. Go in and pay him respect. Craze. Yeah, T'Challa Bogard, Prince of Wakanda. I'm the son of a great general. Okay, so I'm the son of what's his name from Get Out, I guess. No, I'm the son of Okoye. I guess she got married at some point. Or maybe she adopted someone. I don't know. I think there's supposed to be a sprint option. I'll use that as I'm going around. We'll see how it goes. This sounds like an arrangement of the original game's music. I mean, obviously the PlayStation was capable of very good audio. Final Fantasy Tactics being the obvious example. You know, your Xenogears, your Metal Gear Solids, yeah, no problem. Sample music. But I would argue that this sounds like an arrangement of the original game soundtrack. So I'll dig up the original soundtrack and hear how it sounds. I mean, again, if you're talking about games like Castlevania Symphony of the Night, that was streaming audio. It's not Red Book, it was Yellow Book. It was basically that's how I say this. Yellow Book music takes up less space. Red Book audio is straight from the disc. You're just reading the laser straight off the disc. It's just streamed, high quality, 44 hertz, that whole thing. The 44 hertz sample rate. Yellow Book audio, to my knowledge, is like 37K, so it's a bit less on the upper end, but it's higher quality than, say, like an audio cassette or a record player, I would argue. So it wasn't quite CD quality, but it was higher quality than like your average FM radio transmission. So yeah, my understanding is that Yellow Book audio was legit. And like I said, if you've heard Castlevania Symphony of the Night's music, that was streamed right off of the disc. It just wasn't using Red Book. It was using a slightly compressed version of the audio. Again, it takes up less space, lower quality, but it takes up less space on the disc. I can't do the math in my head. It's probably uses 10% less space. I think, in other words, proper Yellow Book audio, you can fit 4 more minutes of music on the disc. My understanding. Yeah, what about that court magician, Wendy? Was she pretty? Come on, spill the beans. There are a couple of characters in these games these are teenage boys apparently, and they are in the company of adult women, and they comment about that, which I think is kind of amusing. But anyway, I mean, obviously, people who grew up playing a lot of Japanese RPGs are familiar with they're like shonen or seinen. Yeah, we're in seinen territory, right? But yeah, I knew a lot of gamers who were in their 20s and 30s who just got sick of playing games about high schoolers and middle schoolers saving the world or fighting God. So they were more into stuff like Vagrant Story, where it was more about adults. Heck, I was playing that French homage to Japanese RPGs on this channel, not Expedition 33. The Astria Ascending, which is a game. It looked like a Vanillaware game, but apparently it was produced in France. And they got Base Escape, which was Sakamoto Hitoshi's company. Sakamoto Hitoshi doing Final Fantasy Tactics with Masaharu Iwata back in the day. And they apparently, or I know Sakamoto definitely formed his own company. They were working on the Vanillaware games. And they got the company in when Base Escape. And apparently when the Frenchies showed up to make that Astria Ascending game, they said, okay, let's make a game that looks like a Vanillaware game. Let's actually hire the musicians at Base Escape to do our music. And the music was actually pretty good. Some of the songs in that game are very good. They sound like something Sakamoto Hitoshi would have composed. And so it sounds like it has that vibe of a Sakamoto Hitoshi soundtrack at times. So it definitely works. But yeah, I would say this music sounds like an arrangement of the original game soundtrack. So I mean, I say that not to suggest that PlayStation wasn't capable of producing a soundtrack of this fidelity. Again, I just tend to believe this soundtrack was chiptune generated on the original hardware, like Wild Arms was. Actually, I believe Wild Arms was chip. Yeah, Wild Arms, Alundra. I want to say all those early PlayStation games, if they weren't streaming like 50 minutes of Red Book audio, like well, there are a couple of RPGs I can think of where they did that. But like if you were to play like a PC Engine CD-ROM, like Legend of Xanadu, or even the Ys games, some of the music was chip-tuned, like in towns usually, but the music that was playing in the overworld or in the dungeons, that was streamed Red Book. But in a game like Legend of Xanadu, they would take chip-tuned music for a lot of the areas, but then add some Red Book audio for some other areas of the game. So it was a mix of very low fidelity chiptune music that's generated from the sound chip on the PC Engine, your TurboGrafx-16. And then they would combine that, and certain sections would have streamed audio. Usually the dungeons. But the tweener music, the stingers, yeah, they would be chiptune synthesis. But again, I massive video game music fan here. Never heard a single song in this franchise ever. Or if I heard it in passing, none of it was memorable. The music that I heard. But again, I hadn't the circles that I was wandering in back in the days when I was listening to video game music on the regular back in the early 2000s. Like in the late 90s, early 2000s, I was listening to a whole bunch of video game music. But they weren't highlighting this game. They were mainly Square Enix fans. Your Final Fantasies, your Suikaijis, because the Secret of Mana composer, Hiroyuki Kikuta, was it Hiroyuki Kikuta? He was working on the Red Book soundtrack for Suikaiji, which is one of my favorite soundtracks, actually. Excellent soundtrack. Never bought the game. The game got kind of expensive. I think about a decade or so ago, you could have got it for maybe like $30-$40. Not happening now. It's also apparently not a good game. Like, apparently it's a really crappy character action game, but the Red Book audio is really fantastic most of the time. I would say 2, if not 3 of my favorite video game songs of the era were on that game soundtrack, so. But yeah, the PlayStation 1 is an interesting scenario because that's when we start seeing that transition from old school, like you're again chiptune music obviously, but they started rolling in some more synthesized music that was higher fidelity. Like I said, your Final Fantasy Tactics, I believe, is all chiptune compared to something like I said, Symphony of the Night, which is all streamed. So you could put those two soundtracks together, you could reasonably argue that Symphony of the Night you could reasonably argue that Final Fantasy Tactics sounded like it was streamed. Star Ocean, again, all chiptune generated, very high quality sound engineering on that one. I've done videos of that here on this channel. Still probably one of my 5 favorite soundtracks of all time. Star Ocean, Second Story is absolutely a banger. It is probably the only no-skip soundtrack I've ever heard that's more than an hour long. I cannot think of a game with an hour's worth of music where there's, okay, there might be 2 songs in it that are like not amazing, but almost every song in that soundtrack, even the filler music, even the incidental music, it's the music that plays, like there's a mechanic in the game where your character can just play a musical instrument while they're in the menu to like give your party members buffs. They're like these little like 15, 20-second ditties, and they're all bangers. So yeah, we don't sit at day here, but we would save here. So I can load this game, I suppose. But I can't load that. So I guess I can back out of the menu. So we can load from the menu, that's fine. Again, you can't save anywhere, so if you can, I don't know how. There is a digital manual here. In fact, you could probably read it from here. There it is. There's a digital manual included here, which is handy. We'll read it inside of the game. But in order to, I played Suikoden 2 about a week ago, about a couple of days ago. So I'll play that. I'll make a video of that later. It took me like half an hour to get to a save spot, which sucks because I mean there's probably an autosave somewhere. But like I'm playing like during my lunch hour at work. Like not being able to save at any time is kind of lame, especially in 2025. Shops and headquarters. There's supposed to be skip page. Okay, so we can do that. But there's definitely a way to save your game. It's not mentioned here. Playing the game. There we go. Save your game by going to ends, writing in the journal at home, or using journeyman orbs. Traditional save spots you would see in a lot of video games of the era. You couldn't save any. I want to say in games like Final Fantasy VI, obviously you can save in the overworld. But if you wanted to save inside dungeons, usually you had to save at a designated location like that. The game will autosave when entering a map with a journeyman orb. That's helpful, thank you. And a character that can save. What happens if the character can't save? Hold on, there's some buzzing, so I gotta make sure this. I gotta make sure this thing touches my skin. Okay, I think we're good. A little bit. Sorry about that. Had to kind of. I got a cord here. I gotta clean up. So that's our game save. So how many people are in our group? 4? Maybe 5? But yeah, this, honestly, again, my expectations of this game are extremely low, unfortunately. Got 5 people in my group, dog. It's one of those Japanese RPGs. Well, when Final Fantasy VI came out, that was a big deal. Like, and I admit, as a youngster, as a teenager, I would have loved playing a game where you have like 5 and 6 party members. Because again, remember, back in the era, most Japanese RPGs were like maybe a party of 3 or 4. So being able to juggle 5 or 6 would have been a big deal, I think. At least for me. There's a log. Pinned. I don't want to. So you can press the ZR button to pin. No pinned messages. Okay. So where are we going? I don't need to. Well, I've already saved my game, so we can go anywhere we want, I guess. Turn-based battles. But I want to say this game had kind of an isometric view, and kind of like, what game was it? Vandal Hearts kind of did this, where it's like 3D background, polygonal backgrounds with sprite scaling. Because remember, in the mid-90s, there was a lot of that. This looks like Breath of the Fire, which is fine. You can run away from stronger enemies. You can bribe an enemy with the money for a chance of running away. The amount varies depending on the number. It says here on the bottom of the screen, depending on the number of enemies and their level. But I don't know what their level is. So what's the battle speed? Bottom right-hand corner of the screen. So you can fast forward, you know, typical emulation-related stuff. So we can do an auto... We're probably just going to do a regular fight, and then we'll do auto battling later. We're not going to make this complicated. We'll have every... What's unite mean? Command only available for certain combinations of characters in your party that will perform a special type of attack. Examples include... This is all listed on the bottom of the screen. Examples include Gremio and Pon's Guardian attack, or Hiro and Kai's Master and Pupil attack. There are many more to find. Back at a bit. So we'll just attack with T'Challa. We'll do a unite. There's no magic here, right? So we should be fine. Attack. Attack. Okay. So let's see what's up. And we're sure. Ow! So if we all target the same enemy, we'll just... And if we all target the same enemy and the enemy dies, then yeah, we'll just switch to the next enemy. So again, in the Final Fantasy 1 era, that was a problem. You couldn't just auto-target the next enemy if the enemy you target already died before you got a chance to attack. Yeah, we're fine. We'll be safe. So we can just do basic combat here. Not gonna be fancy. We'll level up. You know, it's a video game. It's an RPG. You can level up. What's the map button? No map button, huh? Well, there's definitely a map in Suikoden 2. Check on something. We can view the manual. Let's learn how to play the game, shall we? Let's see. Display world map. Oh, sorry. That's in town. Nothing fancy. It's a turn-based RPG from like 1996. What do you want? We aren't exactly in like tactics ogre territory here. I need to play tactics. Look, I played like 2-3 hours of that game on this channel. I'm gonna play more of it. It's one of the games I keep meaning to play seriously and never do. Hold on. Here we go. Had to get my buzzing down. Okay, so what do we need to do here? Did I say this is a research stream? It's a research stream. I like going in blind to like old RPGs I've never played before, but I realize the novelty is gonna wear off in a couple of hours. So let's see how long it lasts here. So where's the overworld? Yeah, world map. Here we go. So we start in area 9. Yeah, where are we exactly? Well, we're in 1, I guess. Yeah, we're in Gregminster. Greg! How you gonna get fired on your day off? Gregminster is such like an English. It's such like an American English name. So I got a town. It's called. What about T'Challa Minster? No, just Greg. And we're not gonna auto fight these guys. Let's just see how we do. So again, we'll just see what options exist early on. Then we'll start auto battling. But again, this is a mid-90s Japanese RPG. It's not trying to whiffed. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. So they're trying, I guess they're kind of doing like a Grandia thing here. Although, no, actually, no. It's still turn-based, and there's still formations, you know, forward and backward, you know, for vanguard and rear guard, that whole thing. This doesn't seem terribly sophisticated. I mean, we'll see how sophisticated it gets later. Again, in the PlayStation 1 era, a lot of people my age, even if they skipped RPGs on the Super Nintendo, people my age kind of got into turn-based games when Final Fantasy VII blew up. So they started playing more games like Wild Arms and games like this. Maybe your Personas. They were playing Revelations Persona, possibly. Yeah, but we don't seem to have any other attacks, so I would argue this is kind of a waste. No runes? Oh yeah, I can't. Oh yeah, so I can't use the runes if I use the Unite attack. So give me a second. Attack. We can use runes here. Characters with runes can consume MP to use magic. What magic? When using magic, select which spell to use, then select the target. Reading from the bottom of the screen, remember. Characters with attached runes can consume... Okay, we already established that. But what MP do I have? Lose balance. So we'll attack the other one. So one person can do magic, but no one else. Okay. But I don't know what MP we have. It's not listed. Whoop! Did he die? Well, we got a problem. We're going to practice going to an inn and recharging our characters, I suppose. Okay, so he loses his balance when he does that. Okay. Okay, so this could be interesting. Wasn't expecting really hard enemies to be here. So he can't attack. Yeah, so these guys are strong. Okay, so we got a problem. So after doing that special attack, he can't move for at least a turn, I guess. That's what it means to lose your balance, I guess. Attain Ponty Hat or Pointy Hat. We're gonna head home, see if we can bring back our ally here. Again, a problem from this era. It's possible encounter rates could be higher than you might like. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, that shimmering effect on the water, that's definitely added for the remaster. There was a 0% chance that was in the original game. Like, I tend to believe the original game was just, you know, conventional. I tend to believe the original game was just conventional, you know, pixel art graphics. Nothing fancy. Now, should I be getting better weapons and stuff? We'll find out later. So do our party members come back after they die? Or are they just incapacitated? Nope, they're back. Okay. How much did that cost? I wasn't paying attention. I don't know how much it costs, but isn't the game supposed to tell you how much it costs? But I did get some HP before I died, right? Like, this isn't going to be a problem, is it? So which way is home? Messing with Gremio. What are you implying, lady? What kind of anime do you think this is? Maybe one of those Jujutsu Kaisen anime, I guess. Where all the where the Goro stands at. Is that the dude's name? So is there a map here? No. It has to be in the town, not in the buildings. Yeah, this reflection effect is probably added for the remaster, which is the kind of thing that would add to a remaster, if I'm being honest. We lost a couple of people, so I'm going to have to respawn. I understand. Oh, haha, please take my leave. Okay, so I guess I can't go home. Oh, well. So here's what I'll do. There's probably an autosave. It's probably an autosave that already took place. I'll find out later. Screen wraps around the bottom. That's how I can... Screen wraps around from the top. That's how I'm able to get there more quickly. So what do we got here if we reload? Where's the autosave? Yes, the autosave never got updated. Okay. So you're going to have to save every time. Manually. Sounds like a good idea. Now, given the fact that I die, there's an argument that I might need to buy better armor or just grind. Is this a game where I need to grind for like half an hour to make progress? We're going to find out. I have half a mind to turn off the music, by the way. Yeah, so I can't see the map. Formation. Side. Is that what S means? Can only attack from the front row. I can only target enemies in the front row. Okay. Can attack from either the front or back. Huh? Can only target enemies in the front row. I guess that's what that means. Again, will it matter later? We'll find out. This was a decent, again, decent amount of strategy for this. And for this era, you know. Final Fantasy VI, you can do front or rear, but it really was just determining how much damage you took and how much damage you could do, depending on the weapons you were carrying, you know, that kind of stuff. Put mages in the back, you put archers in the back. If you put an archer in the back, they can do more damage because they're in the back. Like, they can do equal damage from the back row. They can do equal damage from the back row, you know, crap like that. Typical menu-driven RPG combat stuff. Ted doesn't have any runes yet, but he'll get them. Okay, it's fine, but it doesn't explain anything. What's that thing that Cleo has? And by the way, is there like actual MP? Yeah, I don't see any MP. So if this guy's using a rune, he's not wasting any MP. Range. Medium. Oh, that's what that means. See the weapon on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen? It says range. Medium. S. So you can attack, I think you can only attack from the front row, and you can only do damage to enemies in the front row. Cleo has a long-range weapon, so you can attack from either row, I think. So that whole thing. Again, will it matter? We'll find out later. Let me check on something else. MP. Okay, there's your MP. So Cleo's the only person who has any MP, but... So I guess they're doing a Final Fantasy 1 thing? I guess they're doing a Final Fantasy 1 thing. Where it's like Dungeons and Dragons. You carry a certain amount of charges. So you can cast the spell a certain number of times, but then you gotta go home and regenerate and then sleep and regenerate the number of charges you have on your spell. That's a Final Fantasy 1 thing. I want to say Final Fantasy 1 got it from Dungeons and Dragons. I want to say the charge. It's a charge-based system, not a MP-based system. Apparently, like you can cast the heal spell 8 times a day before you have to sleep and recharge and that kind of thing. So I can't see the map from here. It might be under settings. Yeah, you can view the manual from settings. So world map. I know there's a quick way to go to the end, but let's see. Proceed to page, okay. So that's why the menu is there on the left. That's why all that crap is there on the left. It's bookmarks. So you can skip to that section of the manual. But again, I think every video game should have a manual baked into the cartridge or the media. Like, even if it's something like Dragon's Crown did this. They baked a manual that you could read at any time into the disc. That, to me, is way better than just printing something out, which you could lose. And people who know this game with a manual, the manual for this game alone is worth like $20-$30. It's probably not even that useful. I think people like manuals for the art manual because the information in the manual has already been scanned by somebody else, or at least transcribed in some way. But I mean, obviously, some manuals are useful. Like, you know, they actually tell you stuff, and you need a manual for some games. But a lot of these games of the era, they were telling you stuff that isn't mentioned in the game because it wouldn't fit on the cartridge. This is a CD-ROM. That would not have been a problem. Just a second. Okay, so I got my... So that'll take care of my buzzing. Alright. So where are we again? We're number 1. So we can go to 2, 3, or 4, I would argue. But don't go all the way down to 7. Yeah, we are not going to survive this. I need to switch up. I need better armor, too, which I don't. I have a bandana and a tunic. That ain't going to do it, son. That ain't it, son. Should I switch formation? I want to say none of these guys have really good armor. So is he safer there? Okay, so 3... Yeah, so 1 is always from the front guard. Okay. Can only target enemies in the front row. Okay. So that means I can move him to number 6. Why can't I move him to 6? Is he not allowed on number 6? I don't know if I want Ted up there. So the 2 guys in the front need to be... Yeah, put Cleo in the front, I guess. I don't know. So I can't put anyone in number 6. There's got to be another way to do this. I mean, it would make no sense if I couldn't put him in number 6. The point was to kind of protect the dude with the least hit points. So we'll auto-battle this. We can cancel out of it if we need to. Whoop! That's not good! Gotta cancel the auto-battle. That's not good. Yes, take out the boar rune. Let's bust him in the mouth. Let's see if the dead guy gets some hit points. Yeah, that's not. Yes, that's gonna be a problem. Actually difficult combat, huh? So this actually might be a problem. So he's just gonna dodge. Okay, so this is just gonna be a problem, huh? Yes, that's not gonna work. We're just not strong enough. This boar's gonna wipe us out, dog. Wow. Yeah, he's just gonna wipe us out. Yeah, this dude's fled. One freaking boar, dog. I didn't know this game was so tough. Now we're keeping it real, huh? Do I need to change the difficulty setting now? Do I have to change the difficulty? Are you kidding me? This can be changed if the game was started in easy or normal. Okay. But I think the hard mode means you don't really have a choice. But you know, what does hard mode mean in a game of this vintage? Does it mean like the enemy, you have to grind more? Because that's a terrible way to make a game harder. Like, is the game forcing us to use actual strategy? Because that was not something I was expecting, if I'm being honest. Again, I was not expecting strategy. So this is the default setup. Do we want to move people around? I wasn't expecting to die. This is an RPG from the 90s. I wasn't expecting to die. What do you think this is? Resonance of Fate? Greg Minster. T'Challa, denizen of Greg Minster. What about Greg? Denizen of Greg Minster. Ugh, this is bad. Run. Couldn't escape. We're gonna lose one of our dudes. He's not dead. We run now. Now we flood. So right off the bat, we got a problem. Right off the bat, dog. So we don't want to move Brother Man. Yeah, Brother Man has to be in the front row. So we just took a shot to the face. I have half a mind to just restart this whole thing. Here we got a problem here. Let's see if we can do a unite attack. There we go. 50% more damage to an enemy. So we should be fine from here. As long as we don't take a big hit. Haha, you missed. Okay, so I was expecting the game to actually be challenging. I don't know what to tell you. Was there a difficulty slider on the original game? Would be an interesting question. Okay, so I get some hit points back when I level up. That's good. Obtain 60 potch. That's enough potch for me to spend one night at the inn. It's not amazing. Let me check on something. So, do I get back hit points between fights, I guess? In battle. Yeah, etc. and so forth. Run away and escape. If the enemy's level is vastly lower, it changes to let go. Okay. Bribe the enemy with money for a fair chance of running away. Characters will attack enemies at random, which I don't want to do. I want them to attack the same enemy. Hunker down. Characters consume MP. That's okay. Unite. Oh shit. Okay, so everything that's in the text at the bottom of the screen appears here in the menu, so that's good. In the manual. Actions are taken in order of characters with the highest SPD. Characters that reach 1,000 XP will level up, okay. All your characters getting knocked out result in a game over. That's fine. Balloon. What's balloon? Characters that accumulate 3 balloons? What? Huh? Status ailments other than poison or balloon are cured after the battle. So poison is persistent between battles. Ugh. They have a bucket over their head. That's kind of hilarious. So how do you cure poison? Well, maybe with a potion. How do you cure a balloon? You just use a needle to pop the balloon. Lose balance. Your friend's character from taking action for 1 turn, yeah. But they aren't paralyzed. They just can't. Yeah, they aren't paralyzed. Let's see, a story progressive seamless engagement in enemy battles. Again, this is the kind of stuff you could probably do in a traditional RPG Maker-like game. The combat doesn't seem that particularly sophisticated. We'll see how it goes. Because the unit can only attack one stick, I understand that. But that's an army battle. The others are like big battles with like hundreds of troops, I want to say. I've been told it's a pretty basic rock, paper, scissors system. So we'll see how it goes. I saw a bit of Resonant Arcs retrospective on this game. It's a bit too. Okay, we can't take anyone in the back row. It's gonna be interesting. Unite. Let's take on the second dude. So everyone else will attack the first dude. But yeah, a lot of retrospectives about old Japanese RPGs tend to be very, very bare bones, I'm afraid. Did I get demoned? I got demoned? Yeah, something's up with him. Let me check. So I can't go to the menu from here. That's fine. I don't know what demon means. We'll find out. Because there's some kind of icon there. Fight. The mosquito wasn't too dangerous. Let's see what's up. Oh, we're going to unite. If unite is free, I'm just going to keep using it. Unite seems totally free, so I guess I'm cool with that. So we're not auto-battling. We're going to target individual. Oh, that's not good. So that ant over there is a serious problem. I'm going to have to spend the night. But the Unite is the one shot for most that takes down most enemies. But we got a lot of experience in that fight. So we got some HP back. But we're better off saving our game. Okay, what's the status that I just had? Let me check on something. I think it's gone. No. T'Challa's status is still up. What does that say? It doesn't say what the status is. See the attributes. We'll see if it makes a difference later. I almost never review attributes in video games unless it's something like, let's have a choice of buffing it or permanently increasing it. I don't pay attention to stuff like that in games. It usually doesn't matter. Or at least it doesn't matter in a way where I have to change my strategy in any significant way. That's what I mean. If you want to min-max, you might want to check your attributes, but I almost never... in a lot of these old-school Japanese RPGs, I never have to worry about tracking that stuff. Let me check on what that status is. Status ailments. So he's been poisoned. Can I zoom in on that? I can't zoom in on this. I've been poisoned. So I need to head home. See if I can get rid of this. Yeah, see, I've been poisoned. So am I still getting poisoned down here? I'm not poisoned here, okay. So in town, I'm not poisoned, I guess? Hold down the X button to run. Okay, so the inn should always be near the entrance. It's the way it's supposed to work in these RPGs. Messing with Gremio again. How we doing? Okay, so we've been healed. That's good. And I got my charges back on my MP, so I guess so I got my charges back, and I think I learned a spell when I leveled up. Runes. Don't have any runes. So Cleo has some magic spells. I'm gonna have to buy one. Let's see what our options are. We can also save. We'll end the video after we do a couple more fights. This, I didn't mean to do that. Wasn't that expensive. Okay, so that was a waste of money, but whatever. We'll earn it. We'll earn it back in a second. Okay. So I had to eat a bit of money on that. So I'm not sure how much it costs for me to actually spend the night. I need to pay attention to that. I mean, I think it's like 60 or 80 potch. I don't know how much it is. So we're gonna need. I think we're gonna need some better armor. Definitely for my weak. So we have to actually buy some stuff. So Chala needs another. I thought he was actually wearing a headband already. He's wearing a bandana. That's the problem. So this doubles T'Challa's defense, or it adds 2 to his defense. Winged boots. No real increases. Yeah, these are insignificant increases to what I'm already carrying. The fur robe's expensive. They would do that. So I guess we'll buy a headband. So what are the cheapest options? Yeah, you just give everyone a headband, I guess. Because everything else just seems too expensive. So yeah, we can just the cheapest upgrade is going to be giving everyone shoes. And do we have to give it to is this like Ultima Exodus? You have to give it to individual. Yeah, it's like Phantasy Star. You got to give it to individual characters. And in other words, in games like Final Fantasy, you purchase armor for a pool, I think. Well, in later games, you purchase armor for a pool, and then people just pick what they want from the pool. In this game, like in Phantasy Star 2, you give armor to a person, and they put it on. But if someone else wants to put it on, you have to take it off. You have to remove it from one person and give it to somebody else. There is no pool of armor to wear. There is no pool of items. You have to actually give the armor to somebody and then remove it from them if you want to give it to somebody else. There is no pool. There's no stash that you carry around that everyone can just grab. So you get more defense from the back. That's hilarious. Makes sense, actually. Wait, so it's like this is a minuscule improvement to our defense. I guess it's more meaningful for Ted. No one else has a decent value. No one else has a decent armor value. That sucks. So yeah, so each individual is carrying a particular item, and I've been told like late in the game, if you give like some really nice armor or some really nice gear to a person who's gonna leave your party, you're never getting it back. Like that's old school 1990s Japanese RPG nonsense that I'm glad they got rid of. Like I want to say like the remakes and remasters tend to account for that. They strip all the gear that the party member is wearing before they leave the game or before they leave your party. That's the way it's supposed to be done. We're good. I would say that none of this stuff is really worth buying at this point. This equipment sucks. You look at my defense ratings. So getting one extra pip to my defense is like barely a 5% improvement to my defense. That's kind of meaningless at this point in the game. And the other stuff, it gives me like, adds 2 defense points. So we're talking about like what, again, like a 6% boost to my defense? That's pretty, I need to get way more money to make that worth it. Again, I'm old enough now that I can like, I can try to figure out the math and say it's not worth it. Armor, yeah, shoes are considered other. So again, a basically meaningless, you know, 5% improvement to my armor. Not even that. It's like a 7% improvement to my armor for this one character. You're sitting in the back, like whatever. So I'm probably better off just I'm probably better off just finding better armor. You can remove, yeah. If you want to wear a helmet, you have to move it from somebody else, I guess. You remove his helmet. Remove their headband. Yeah, so I see what's going on. So you can kind of balance out you can balance out your party members' defense ratings, I guess. The problem is that T'Challa has basically no armor. Well, he has no hit points, so he needs way more hit points. I mean, he's better now, but yeah, he's better now, so that's fine. Because he only had 17 earlier in this video. So that was not particularly helpful. What are we buying? Cures poison. Medicine's always nice. Not buying any of that. I'd argue we need to keep all of this. So let's keep all of it. It's a lot of medicine. So am I gonna have to grind? It sounds like a grinding game. So I bought a arguably meaningless piece of armor. That ain't it, son. I should probably check to see if I can get some see if I can get some magic before I leave. Like, can I buy some runes? Like, is that what this is? It doesn't look like a rune store. It looks like a find or search. It looks like a search store. Oh, it's for appraising, okay. Nothing needs to be appraised. Oh, how much does it cost? Well, it might say if I look at the item how much it costs to appraise. We're not selling any of this crap. So the gear sucks, and the improvements that I can purchase are no better than what I'm actually carrying. I guess if you're willing to spend $1,000, you can like increase someone's defense by like 11%, which doesn't seem to be that significant to me. Attach. Which orb do I want? Whose orb do you want to equip? I don't know what this means. It also doesn't say how much, so we don't have any orbs that can be equipped. So, what's this about? Where is that mentioned? Character information. So yeah, etc. and so forth. Attached runes, okay. But I can't remove anyone's runes. So what's the deal with the orb? Here we go. And blacksmith. Upgrade weapons or enhance them by attaching rune pieces. So we're talking about Xenoblade? Is that what we're doing? I need to play some. I have Xenoblade 3 sitting back there. I've been meaning to do a video for that, but I keep getting distracted by games like this. I finally tore myself away from Civilization 2 for a couple of days. I went a whole week without playing Civilization 2. Be proud of me. I broke the addiction. But I was near the end of the game, and it's getting kind of hot, so I'm trying not to play anything on my PlayStation 3 right now. I shouldn't be playing anything on my PlayStation 4 either. But I want to finish playing some more Rich Man 11. We'll do a couple more videos of that, because I like a good board game. Using orbs to attach runes to characters, allowing them to use special abilities and magic. So there's only one character with a rune, and I don't think... There's only one character who has that boar rune. I don't think it's really doing me any good. You can use our castle as a headquarters. That sounds interesting. We'll get to that later. And honestly, I think this game feels very basic. But they throw in a couple of, bits that might be interesting later in the games. That as you're starting out, just beats you right in the face. That's what I mean, like, is the game challenging, though? Or is it just you have to grind to get anywhere? Because I skipped a lot of grinding in Breath of the Wild because I knew it would take a while. I didn't want to make you sit through a bunch of grinding. I mean, I can vamp, but I mean, who wants to listen to me vamp for an hour and a half about Japanese RPGs? Again, I am confident enough in my background to know that if anyone wants to talk about Japanese RPG, I'm game. I'm down. I don't play them all, but I've played so many that I don't really have to defend them on a nostalgic level. I have just enough nostalgia for Final Fantasy games to want to play them, but I'm also not delusional about what a lot of these games were, so let's not kid ourselves. So we're going to choose individuals. We're going to unite to fight one enemy. Then we'll take out the remaining one. So we'll beat up on one dude and then do the one-shot enemy on the... We'll do the one-shot kill on the second dude. So, yeah, about, like, what, 30 hit points? Maybe 33 hit points on these ants. So they'll go down pretty quickly if you don't whiff on any of these attacks. Hit points, Gremio took a shot, so that sucks. Hopefully we won't die on the next turn. I don't want to waste any medicine at this point. So we got 160 Potch. I wasn't paying attention. I think it was 160. So again, how much do I spend at the end versus how much do I get from the, like how many fights do I have to do to pay for one night at the end? So they're trying to do this Mode 7 map, which looks okay. So that's again, it makes me curious to see what the original game looked like. Well, that boar's gonna be a problem. Let go. Are we that overpowered? Well, I'll tell you what. We'll pick a fight with him. He's gonna take a shot at us though, so be careful. Unite. So we're gonna fight the boar. The boar's gotta go down. He's gonna wipe us out in one turn. Go get him. So we're actually doing some damage to the boar now. See, those birds aren't going to hurt us. There you go. Boar down. So now we can auto battle. Go get him. So again, we're doing the sprite scaling thing here. Again, there's some trying to make the combat a bit splashier, you know. What was it? Vandal Hearts kind of the same thing. That was a turn-based strategy game. It was closer to like Shining Force, where you move individual characters around on the map, and there would be lots of really weird looking, you know. There'd be lots of weird, like every time you hit an enemy, there'd be like some weird zoom in. Every time you hit the enemy, and when the enemy died, it'd be like a geyser of blood, like this Monty Python-esque geyser of blood every time you killed an enemy. Which I think made the game M-rated, but it's not. And I want to say that, yeah, I guess in a way you could say it was like the first Berserk RPG, because it was like a bloody, a violent, low fantasy setting, as I recall. Lots of red and brown, as I recall. And I haven't played Vandal Hearts since it launched. I don't remember it being good. I just remember playing it. I put at least 24 hours into it, if not 3. I didn't beat it. But back in the day, I played a lot of Japanese RPGs in the PlayStation 1. I played dozens. Probably 4 dozen, I think 3 or 4 dozen Japanese RPGs I played on that system. Most of them are pretty basic. Lots of like bare bones, Square Enix, finding more colorful ways to press the attack button kinds of RPGs. Nothing hardcore, unfortunately. Didn't play many hardcore RPGs on the I mean, obviously, I played Final Fantasy Tactics, is very good. Unbalanced, obviously, in some ways. But I didn't play as many, like, bangers on that console as I should have. Like, obviously, I have Grandia. I have several videos of Grandia on this channel. There's a guy in the back. We have to get past these mosquitoes to get to the dude in the back. Let me see what our options are. I can't attack the dude in the back with the Unite. So if I can wipe out the ant in the back with the Unite attack, that will save me a bunch of trouble. Because he's gonna hit us pretty hard, I think. But again, I'm curious if they made the grinding easier and quicker in this game. That was a big shot. Haha, missed. And we got a counterattack on him. Okay, so we got a count. That was a counterattack. Okay. So we can do counterattacks in this game. So Gremio is getting some HP. I'm curious if he's getting HP when he levels up. So we got a lot of potch now. So we'll end the video pretty soon, but I just want to see the flow of the game early. This is the flow of the combat in the early games. You got to see me die early on. You got to see me you saw me get stronger after like 3 or 4 fights. So if the grinding has been sped up, that's legitimately a good thing. Because a lot of these old games are terrible about grinding. Like, awful about grinding. I'm level 6. I should be able to survive more fights. So yeah, I leveled up very quickly here. And I got an extra charge on my magic. But again, I'm not earning any more magic spells. So do I have to like when do I get more magic spells is the question. But yeah, you saw me get one shot by the boar like, early in the video, so if you're willing to commit half an hour to grinding, you'll probably survive. You just have to hope. You have to run away from the really strong enemies, and then just win enough fights with the weaker ones. But the enemies just. In other words, it's not like going to a particular zone makes the enemy stronger. You know what I mean? Because in Final Fantasy II, the original Final Fantasy II, like there are some areas you're not supposed to be. The enemies will one-shot you if you wander onto certain areas of the map. You do not want to be there. We good here on this bridge? Yeah, we're good. Now we got to unite to take out that ant in the back. The red soldier ant. He's going to be a problem. Everyone else will just attack the mosquitoes. They might whiff. See, he whiffed on the mosquito. So again, dodge. That was a good dodge. So again, I insist that someone's down. Okay, Gremio's been poisoned. That's the problem. So we'll auto battle out of this. Whiffed. So we have to send Gremio home, and he has to spend the night at the inn. Threw a rock and missed. That was a dagger he threw and missed. So we got to head home now. We might get into one more fight. Because I'm way too far from home. So that means I'm probably going to have to buy some antidotes. God, yeah, it's bad. That means I got to buy antidotes. We'll see if we can escape. Because I avoided a lot of fights to get here. Let go. Graciously allow Crow's party to flee. We were overpowered. That makes sense. Okay, so his HP's at 1, right? Yeah. So his HP is as low as it will go, and you don't lose HP inside the towns, so that's good. So we'll stay. I didn't double check to see how much money I had. So it's not that. It's just that one fight should pay for all the potch that I need. So we have enough potch to actually survive a few fights. So I'll tell you what. Let's save the game one more time. So again, I'm not going to make you sit through all this grinding. I'm probably going to have to bring some more antidotes. I'm probably going to have to buy some antidotes, I'm afraid. So I'll buy some antidotes and we'll see how it goes. So nope, didn't make a lot of progress in this game. But you know, in the old days you would grind. Wait, let me see how many antidotes I have. Items. Medicine. The medicine's for healing, so what do we have to do for poison? There's gotta be an antidote around here somewhere. Not there. Antidotes on the left. Armor on the right. I do like these double wide shops in video games. I don't know why. I have an affinity for these double wide buildings where there are two different merchants on both sides of the buildings. And just having like each building be its own. Antitoxin. So I get 160 potch every fight. So probably should buy 2. Well, give it to the person who's not carrying as much stuff. Oh, how many did I buy? Did I buy 4? Can I buy less than 4? Huh. Guess I thought I was buying 1. So it's like I'm buying a bundle. Yeah, half price, obviously. And medicine's like 100. So you know how it is. It's like GameStop. You sell it for half price. You sell it for half the purchase price. That's how it works. Or these days, your store credit's usually like 33 to 40% of purchase price. So it's how they kind of shift the pricing around a bit. GameStop is infamously stingy when it comes to a store credit on classic video games. You might get like 40 for Brigandine. Which is saying something. That's like a $200 game these days, I believe. There was a time when you could have bought it like 5 years ago. Could have bought Brigandine for like, $60 with a GameStop Pro membership, but it would have been like the disc only, most likely. Which would make some people mad, but for me, I'd rather just pay $60. I'd rather just play the disc, but people want complete in box because they're like purchasing. They're hoarding old video games like stocks in a portfolio. So we're going to take out the boar no matter what. Unite. So unite to fight the boar. We should be good. So none of these guys will poison us. So the pacing of the fights isn't bad. It's just that there's not a whole lot of sophistication here, unfortunately, which is again normal for the era, I would argue. So we can fast forward the battle, which fast forwards the music, which is kind of weird. Okay, let's see how many experience points we get. So we got 400 pots. That's a very good haul. So we have 400 experience points for everyone, right? Everyone's got 400. Someone took a hit. Okay, well, that's fine. Ted's fine. Is there a town called Tedminster, I wonder? Shut up, Ted. $32, so it's gonna be a while. So I guess we're just getting fewer experience points. Oh, we got a urn that needs appraising. So I guess the number of experience points we earn goes down as we level up. But it still takes 1,000 experience points to level up. Which feels like a concession that we made for the remaster. I'm not complaining about that. We'll appraise that urn in a second. Auto. Probably should have united. Yeah, I would argue, yeah. Uniting gives us a stronger attack, so I would unite. Okay, so it'll take us at least... So we've earned 100 experience points in 2 fights, basically. So it might take 7 more fights to actually level up. So we're not going to drift too far from home base. We have enough hit points. I think I'm getting some hit points back every time I level up. Okay, we got 2 of these guys. Can we unite to fight the other dude? Yeah, unite for the second dude. Then we'll have everyone else just attack the first red soldier ant. And by the way, we're selecting right to left, in case you're wondering. So the first ant on the menu is the one on the right. Okay, so that was a good pull. So we should be able to level up pretty quickly now. I feel better about that. So one more fight, maybe a couple more fights will do it. So as long as I grind up enough, then I think I should be able to, like, get across that bridge and do some actual fighting. So, but there's no quick way to check out the menu from here. To check out the map from here. So that's unfortunate. Can't wrap around. Okay, so the bridge is over there at number 5. Mount Tiger Wolf. Rockland, Mount Sifu, the other Mount Seifu. This is the entire game, huh? So before we end the video, we'll appraise that item and see what's up. But yeah, we're not dying after 2 fights now. So we've done it. We did it, fam. We leveled up. Yeah, so now we're one-shotting dudes. All right, so we're grinding up now. All right, so a couple more fights should do it. So yeah, this is just an idea how the pace of the game. Again, people of this era, it's like this pacing is actually kind of normal for the era. You grind up for like 40 minutes just to see if you're making serious progress. And we'll unite to fight the soldier ant in the back because he's going to be the strongest enemy we fight. And everyone else will just attack mosquitoes till they fall. Whiffed. Okay, so we're one-shotting mosquitoes with archers, so that's fine. So we don't have to. Wow, I took a big hit there. So we don't have to deviate from our strategy. So we can auto battle out of this and end the video. So like I said, we'll save the game, go to the appraiser, and see what's up. Leveled up. See, Upon took a big shot to the face there, but. So I don't know if he got some hit points back when he leveled up or what. He took 20 hit points to the face. One more enemy right outside of town. So it might take one more hit. That's okay. We'll unite to fight the second dude. So that's the tiny bit of strategy I'm doing here, is I'm uniting to fight one enemy that might be too strong for us to bring down in one turn. Because that unite is a one-shot. It'll take out any enemy we face so far. So I don't want to pile on damage on one enemy. I want to like have them unite to take down one fully healthy enemy, and then have everyone else whittle down a weaker enemy. So again, you unite against the strongest enemy, have everyone else whittle down the other enemy instead. That's the strategy I have to work with here. I'm fine with that. We just need to save. We don't need to spend the night. So we'll save here. So again, decent amount of grinding. I'll head to the appraiser and see how much we get for that item, then we'll reload our game save. But I want to say save scumming doesn't work here. I want to say it won't work here. Where's the item? It's an urn. What kind of urn? Don't know. It's an antique. We're not going to discard it. We can transfer it to somebody else. Again, that's very Phantasy Star BS. I prefer the later Final Fantasy system where it's like there's a pool of items. Then everyone just kind of like the potion isn't given to a person. It's in a pool. And anyone can pull a potion from the pool. That's ideal to me. Basic interface stuff. You have to shuffle items between characters. That's like annoying. Very, very old school. Very 1980s PC crap, I would argue, is what that is. Appraise. 500, huh? It's not that expensive. Defective urn. Results are in. It's a defective urn. I give you $250 for it. So if I sell it, $10. We spent $500 to appraise a freaking $10 urn. I'll appraise this. Okay, I got like a copy of Call of Duty Ghosts in the PS3. I'll give you $10 for it. Give me $500 and I'll appraise this $10 copy of Infinite Warfare for you. stupid. What RPG costs? Yeah, seriously, what RPG costs $10? Magna Carta, I think, is still above $10 these days. Oh, Resident of Fate. Dude, Resident of Fate's like a $10 game. You should buy it immediately on the PlayStation 3 or the Xbox 360. It's a fantastic... Well, that's the problem. A couple of years ago, that game was worth $10. It's probably in the $30 range now. But dude, Resident of Fate, that's a... If you are sick of old school, menu-driven, turn-based RPGs like this, definitely play Resident. I did videos on this channel about Resident of Fate. Because it's the truth. It's hard. I guess you could say it's the Dark Souls of tri-aced, turn-based JRPG hybrids. But it's the truth. Like I said, because it's so inexpensive, it's not really bad to give it a shot. But you're gonna have to spend an hour going through the tutorial. It's not easy. I did videos trying to kind of streamline some of that. That game is not easy to get your head around. So that's why I made those videos, and I like them. A lot of people watch them, but now they've been surpassed by videos that basically take the same content and make it a bit cleaner. I guess they make it more visually arresting than I did. I concede that. That wasn't why I made the videos. The point was to get people comfortable with this really bizarre game, with the really bizarre combat. So I hope I got that off. I'll be playing more of that game, and I'll be doing actual HD captures. I'll be doing component video captures from my PS3 when I get around to playing that game again. But I was doing DVD captures earlier, so if you're watching my old videos of that game, they're like 7 or 8 years old. Those were DVD captures from the PS3. Okay, so let's go to the appraiser. Let's see if I can just sell this crappy urn. Wasting $500 appraising that crap. Garbage. If I go to a different appraiser, will he give me more money for it? So it's worth nothing until I appraise it. I'm going to spend $500 appraising this crap. So I guess I can send it to another store. Actually, before I end the video, if I reappraise it, is it still worth the same amount? Or is it just a dice roll that determines what it is? Yeah, $10 RPGs. I would say Dragon Warrior on the NES is like $20, I think. Maybe $15. It's not that expensive, but I've been told. It's an effective urn. Yeah, trash. Not worth it. So, Suikoden. Suikoden 1, part of the Suikoden 1 and 2 HD Remaster Gate Rune and Dunon Unification Wars. Again, people feel some kind of way about this because they just download the ROMs. Given the choice between paying $150 for these two games on original hardware, or in my case, renting it from the library for free, or going to Best Buy, maybe spending $40 on this, this is the much better deal. It's not authentic, quote unquote, wink wink, nudge nudge, but it's way more affordable. Like, I would never tell anyone to buy any video game of this vintage for $100. It's a waste of money. You could buy 3 or 4 of the best RPGs ever made for the price of this. And they're going to be the combined value you get the combined play time you get out of those games is going to be way cheaper than this on original hardware. So don't even, like Wild Arms on the PS, get out of here with that. Just get a PS Classic. I know everyone hates those. You can play Wild Arms in the PS1 Classic. Get out of here. Ask Tim Rogers. He loves that game. He'll tell you all about it. I, however, probably don't like Wild Arms at all. I'm gonna play it later, but it's that time of year where I gotta pull out my mini consoles anyway and play more old video games from consoles that don't spew massive amounts of heat, like the Nintendo Switch. So we'll end the video with some music. That's actually good. We'll end the music with something classy. How about that? But yeah, I'm not really impressed with the music I've heard so far, except that one area. So we'll go over there and do it. Got to turn it up. So I recorded this audio with my Turtle Beach Nintendo Switch Recon headphones, plugged into an audio splitter for the J5 Create A capture device capturing this footage via USB-C from a mounted switch on the Windows 10 camera app at 60 frames a second, 720p of course. This is a Windows 10 education laptop that's capturing this footage. We'll keep it at 60 for this video, but 30 FPS is fine for this. I'll bring out my monocle and we'll end the video accordingly.